Welcome to the future of brand storytelling. Our facilitator is Mary Wirtz Cooper. She's an MBA and a founder of Cooper Consulting, where she and her team help companies with strategic marketing issues through branding and innovation. She's perfectly suited to lead our panel of thought leaders. Welcome, Mary.
Thanks, Gene.
So this theme number 4, technology for brand storytelling. What are we going to learn today, Mary?
So, Gene, this was an interesting conversation with folks. People were talking about some of the new technologies that are being used right now. And it's kind of a glimpse of where we're at and some thoughts about the future, where we're going with technology and how we're using it to bring brand storytelling to life.
Good to talk about this stuff. Tell me about the panel that sat in on this conversation.
Hey, we have a terrific panel here. Some of these folks weighed in quite frequently, and they come at it from different perspectives because they have different kinds of roles, and they really provided a variety of great perspectives.
So in your executive summary, Mary, you talk about storytelling and story branding that's evolving as technology evolves. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're evolving is there's just new technology and evolving technology, and it's helping drive the change because there's new tools and the existing tools are really being enhanced. And then we also had some conversation as well about the availability of new data sources. We're able to get insights, and from the insights, modify the storytelling approaches to help the overall success rate and, frankly, to help with ROI. So there's just a lot of good things, a lot of good data to mine to create the stories and then enhance them and tweak them.
So take us into your key point number 1 here. Storytelling isn't new, but the ways to tell stories, it's changing.
Yeah, so this just kind of frames up the storytelling conversation here. We've been doing storytelling forever, but it seems to be more and more pressure on marketers to really perfect their brand story because they're looking for interaction to happen as a result of the brand stories. Patrick said a good point here that smart brands collaborate with technology platforms to integrate it. And his kind of theory is to get the best effects, timing is critical. Be the first to use the technology, really gets to leverage the technology best. So it's kind of nice to be ahead of the curve in using the technology before others. And had a counterpoint here, seems kind of counterintuitive to think that the machine can engage people at the human level, because what we're really looking for is, the human truth and trying to address the brand and the tension that happens. But I do think that machine learning, the data can help inform the stories to make them better. But all in all, these stories need to have an emotional connection to help, consumers connect with the brand.
And then in key point number 2, you talk about some technology options for storytelling. There are quite a few, aren't there? Yeah,
there are quite a few. People brought up a number of different things, but I think just kind of starting with the big, movie, TV, film industry is known for their great storytelling. So there's some good technology coming through that industry. And so keeping an eye on those folks and what they're doing helps really inform, the internet and some of the digital strategies. But of course, there's those lesser mainstream things, right? If you think of movies, TV, film as, appealing to the masses, then we move into a little bit more of the one-to-one or smaller group dynamics with the use of Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, blogs. And we see that these influencers are really used to tell brand stories. So there's a lot going on to really filter it down to smaller levels to help tell those stories. And then, we're seeing a lot more podcasts these days. It's a really popular technology and media format. And it requires, really a more sophisticated branding team to pull it off, but it can really be targeted to a loyal fan base, and it can be really leveraged to create an emotional connection and attachment to brands. So those are.
And then you continue here with even more, right, on the next slide?
Exactly. A lot of these storytellers are really trying to drive that one-to-one, experience, and the way they're able to get at that is understanding the individual customer journeys. And, there's a lot of technology that helps us understand where is the consumer intercepted, what do we know about them, and we can determine where they are located, who they are, in terms of demo, psychographics, purchasing behavior, et cetera. And based on all that information that's available, we're able to kind of push those stories to the people and make them more relevant, or even tailor them to those people. Mm-hmm. So one way to kind of get that data and that kind of information going is, Google Home and Amazon Alexa, they're creating that ability for information to go back and forth more about who the consumer is. So, that's just another technology that's going to continue to evolve. And then I know this sounds like not the most exciting, but, online imagery, it's out there, it's available, it's just so readily accessible compared to what was in the past. And being able to have that access to that imagery can help, really bring blogs, articles, web pages alive. And really getting the right images can really help drive the story home.
So I know you were talking about tailoring the messages. Tell us more about customizing content for audience.
Yeah, so there's, content management systems, and this really is a way to make the process more efficient for marketers to tell the story. It just kind of makes the process easier to publish those stories, so it takes a lot less effort. You can get it faster to market. So another point that was raised is there's just some really great technologies that include 360-degree creative and virtual reality in different environments. So that is pretty fun and dynamic to include that type of technology in brand storytelling.
And I see in key point number 5, you talk about the AI pop-ups and their value.
Yeah, so there's some pretty fun stuff. We're seeing retail stores and online buying. There's things like you can experience products like trying on outdoor gear or clothing. AI videos can also be used to see how furniture or rugs or new paint can change a room's look. So the ability to kind of use these tools is pretty awesome. And then Anvisha, she also mentioned a story technology called Vogon, now called Director's Mix. And so you can kind of like put together a template, if you will, where you can put your logo and images. It dynamically embeds audio images. And so what happens is you can create different variations of the same video that would typically take a lot of time, and it becomes really efficient to do these iterations. And that's kind of a cool thing, too. We're all looking for speed to market, and this is a technique that helps iterate and get things told quickly in a variety of different formats.
Obviously, one thing that helps all this tailorizing and customizing is behavioral data, which brings us to key point number 6.
Yeah. So what happens is there's all this great content out there, but if we are able to leverage behavioral data, we're able to really kind of measure and figure out what's working and what's not. So there's a number of different techniques out there, and one of them is like facial coding, and you can kind of tell when people are looking at, say the stories or whatnot, leverage this. There's science behind this about how it doesn't matter what culture you're from, but basically your face, whether you're smiling, your eyes are smiling, you're frowning, different movements on your face tell how much your emotions and how much you like what you're seeing. And so this is a tool that's being used. Of course, there's always that old technology that is actually still out there. There is stationary as well as mobile eye tracking. And you can, through this, see where people are looking at the content. Let's say they're looking at an iPad or their PC and they're watching a video story. We're able to leverage that and see what's seen and what's unseen, what people are skipping over, what's engaging for them. And so that's out there. And then Nielsen's also doing some stuff in neuroscience. They're looking at brainwave data to determine the moments in ads that deliver the highest engagement. So getting these kinds of measurements really help brand marketers to refine their story and really do a better job with their ads and their delivery of something that provides an ROI.
Mary, sounds like the board was really engaged this time around. Talk about the top 3 performers here.
Yeah, we heard from a lot of the folks, but Anvisha really put a lot of great content out there. Michael is always a solid contributor and puts a lot of content out there. And Jason comes from an e-commerce background, and he added some really great content too. So these were the top 3 that were most active, but there was other people who really rounded out the board and gave us a lot of good insights here. And I just really appreciate their activity and passion to really be solid contributors to the board.
No, and great leadership on your part, Mary. What can we look forward to in our next theme number 5?
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about the next theme. We've already launched it. And what we're looking at is talking about paid posts and sponsored posts, trying to understand how people feel about that. Are we really so transparent these days with what's paid and sponsored or not? How do people feel about that? What are the trends that they're seeing? And we're starting to really gear up and hear people's conversations about that. So I'm pretty excited about what we're going to learn next.
And I look forward to that too. Mary Wirtz Cooper, she's an MBA and founder of Cooper Consulting, where she and her team help companies with strategic marketing issues through branding and innovation. And I look forward to our next conversation, Mary. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thanks, Gene.